would all alien civilizations have an evolutionary process on a planet?
Mhm.
So like that's one of the it's almost the definition of life. To create all those memories, you have to have
Things
something
have to change in time.
Yeah.
but there has to be selection. That's like an efficient. There's no other way to do it.
No. Well, never say never, because as soon as I say that,
That's the part that depresses me, though. Going back to like, I don't know, the earlier discussion on violence and things like, and I don't know where somebody was tweeting about this recently, but like, you know, how much stuff had to die.
Yeah.
Maybe it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry.
So
Like,
we're
question my
talking
brain.
about life.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of murder had to occur.
Right. So selection
Death,
means things had to be weeded out, right? So
well, we can celebrate that. Death makes way for
yeah. I mean, and also, you know, one of the most interesting features of major extinction events in the history of our planet is how much novelty emerged immediately after, right? So, and of course, you know, a lot of people make arguments we wouldn't be here if the dinosaurs didn't go extinct. So, in some ways, we can attribute our existence to all of that. But I guess I was just wondering, and sort of like, if I was going to build a universe myself in the most optimistic way, would I retain that feature? But it does seem to be a universe.
I think you have to. I mean, I think we're probably being over anthropomorphizing. I remember watching I think it was the Blue Planet. David Attenborough was showing these seals, and because of climate change, some seals were falling off a cliff, and how tragic that was. I was saying to my son, that's pretty cool. Like, look at those ones down there. They've obviously got some kind of mutations, and they're not doing that daft thing. Yeah. And so that poor gene will be weeded out. Of course, at the individual level, it looks tragic. And of course, as human beings, we have the ability to abstract and we empathize. We don't want to cause suffering on other human beings, and we should retain that. But we shouldn't look back in time and say, you know, how many butterflies had to die? I remember how many. If you think about the caterpillar becoming the chrysalis and then the butterfly getting out, how many, if that suffering, we call it suffering, if that process of pruning had not occurred, we have no butterflies. So none of the butterfly beauty in the world without all that pruning. So pruning is required, but we shouldn't anthropomorphize and feel sorry for the biological entities. Because that seems to be a backwards way of looking at it. What we should do is project forward and maybe think about what values we have across our species and our ecosystem and our fellow human beings. Yeah. You know, now that we know that animals suffer at some level, think about humane farming. When we find that plants can, in fact, are conscious and can think and have pain, then we'll do humane gardening. Until that point, we won't do it, right?
I like this. Famous chemist endorses the majestic nature of murder. That's the title.
I didn't say that, but okay.
Well, I just inserted.
I have a hard time with it, though. I think the way you put it, it's kind of.
But it's the reality of it is beautiful. You know, there's an Instagram account called Nature is Metal, and I keep following and unfollowing it because I can't handle it for prolonged periods of time.
We evolve together, you die alone.
Yeah.
We evolve together, but you die alone.
So
you live alone too. It's the Gatsby thing. I don't know. We evolve together. Where's the together? The together is the murder,
the population,
and the sex.
I just try to
and murder.
My romantic vision of it to try to make me happy, Sarah, instead of sad, Sarah. I talk in third person when I think very abstractly. Sorry. Is you know, like this whole you know like certain things can coexist. So the universe is trying to maximize existence, but there's some things that just aren't the most productive trajectory together, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist on another timeline or another chain somewhere else. And maybe you would call that then some kind of multiverse or things, but what am I saying?
I think you can't. You can't go down a level.
I'm just making stuff up.
No, you're not.
Feel better.
I don't understand. It is illogical, and we need.
I know.
Yeah, if you look at bacteria, if you look at virus, I mean, just the number of organisms that are constantly looking at bacteria, they're just dying nonstop. It's like a slaughter.
Right.
So.
Well, and this goes back to the conversation about God. I mean, there's the whole thing about why does the universe enable suffering?
Individuals don't exist, right? So for this, I think if you think about life as an entity on Earth, right? Let's just go back a second. I mean, I'll be ludicrous for a second. I don't exist. You don't exist, right? but the actions you do, the product of evolution exists, right? The objects you create exist quantitatively in the real world. If you then understand life on Earth or alien life or any life in the universe as this integrated entity where you need cells in your body to die, otherwise you'd just get really big and you wouldn't be able to walk around, right? So you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
got it.
I think
it's the patterns that persist, not the physical things.
And of course, we place immense values on fellow human beings, and I'm majestic professor does like other individual human beings. Or
now you're talking in third person too.
I know it happens, right?
So death, would you say? I mean, because you said evolution is a fundamental part of life. So death is a fundamental part of life.
Yeah. It might right now. It might not be in the future. We might hack some aspects of death, and we'll evolve in different ways.